For great deals on new and used vehicles. Phone 735-4444 for more details. And like Jake said, kind of the baseball's kind of taken over, I guess, for the next probably month. As far as the playoffs will hit, your Cardinals snuck in by maybe one of the worst, what do you want to call it,
you can call it whatever you want, but the fact of the matter is they're in the playoffs.
By the Braves. So
what a great day of baseball Wednesday was, though. I mean, I'm not just saying that the Cardinals made it in. Even if the Cardinals wouldn't have made it in, that was a lot of fun.
Sure.
You had basically four teams playing with something that matters. It was a NCAA Final Four type of feel. Mm-hmm. Just a good time all the way around. You have Boston, who's winning basically the entire game, losing it in the ninth inning with their closer on the mound, with Tampa Bay almost simultaneously winning it on a walk-off home run by their stud Longoria.
Right. Well, the baseball has taken place, and like you said, the Cardinals, we'll get into all that as we go over the playoff baseball race, the NFL. Of course, Illinois, a lot of you probably heading over today, probably already over there. Maybe if you're not, already tailgating and have the coffee going and whatever your drink of choice is over there while you're tailgating, or just staying home to watch it. That game's at 11 o'clock. That's homecoming, and Northwestern is in town today for that matchup. 4-0 Illini, 2-1 Northwestern gets their quarterback back. It hasn't played since last November, tore his ACL.
Yep.
And as you remember, last year the Illini really put it on the Wildcats up at Wrigley Field.
Yeah, a little different game last year with our running backs.
Yeah, we had a guy named Mikel LaSure, I think rushed for it was something ridiculous, over 200 yards.
It was. I thought
and probably made his NFL draft that day by his running. But the last meeting, Illinois won 48-27 last year at Wrigley Field. So we're going to go over some of the things that are going on at the Illinois football at Memorial Stadium today, as everybody will be checking in for that. And, of course, high school football going on, Lincoln homecoming all week, and then had a great parade yesterday, one of the biggest parades I've seen. Of course, Jake was carting around with some huge Clydesdales in a very nice-looking carriage.
Yeah, we decided to break it out for the people around here in Lincoln, Logan County.
Nice.
It was a good time.
It was good, and another added feature, tons of kids collecting candy yesterday. The only bad thing is the Railers fell. The Railers fell last night to Chatham, 34-13. And once Coach McDonald gets here in the second half of the show, Jake, we're going to talk a little bit about him. That game was actually closer. I thought, I was there. To me, the Railers weren't that far behind.
Yeah, it was closer than the final outcomes.
Right. We made a few mistakes, and good teams, as we were playing in Chatham, make you pay for them, and that's exactly what they did. What they did last night. The Railers fall to 2-4, 2-3 in the conference. Chatham improves to 5-1, 4-1 in the conference. We'll run through some of the Central State 8 scores real quick. Rochester breaks 3 state records last night. They put up 49 on Springfield. The score was 49-35. How about for your second game back of your senior season, you throw for 590 yards. That was Wes Lunt. The quarterback, of course, headed to Oklahoma State. Yeah, he threw for 590 yards. That was one state record. He broke I think previous record was just 589. So there may have been a little finagling there with the yardage, only 1 yard away. But you got to give it props for whether it's 589 or 590. That's a lot of passing.
That's a lot of yards.
Yeah, and two other ones was Zach Grant, the receiver. He had 20 catches last night, breaking the old state record of 19. And then he also had 345 yards receiving.
Well, I know when he played against Lincoln just a few weeks back, it feels like, man, he put on display.
Yeah, and he did that again to Springfield, which now Rochester improves to 5-1, 4-1 in the Central State 8. Springfield 3-3, 3-3 in the Central State 8. Griffin, a big winner, the number 1 team ranked in 6A state, 48-0 over Taylorville. And Jacksonville was a winner over Southeast, 57-27. Lanphier plays today against that non-conference opponent. So a lot of going on. You look through the Chatham's ranked. You've got Springfield that was ranked. Of course, Rochester's ranked. Sacred Heart Griffin, number 1 in 6A. A lot.
Central State strong.
Oh man, as always, they're definitely strong. But of course, we'll have Coach Andy McDonald and a couple seniors in. in the second half of the show, we'll go over more of the break down the game a little bit more on the stats and what went wrong. And like I said, I think it was a closer game really than the score led to. But after that, next up, let's talk some baseball, Jake. And of course, your Redbirds are getting ready to start. Now we had baseball last night, and the Rays put on a clinic, I would say. First game in the playoff series 2011. They were at the Texas Rangers, and the Rays won 9-0. Talk a little bit, Jake. I'm sure you got to see a little bit of the game about that second start for the Rays pitcher, and he comes out and I think 2 hits.
Yeah, 2 hits and just dominated.
Yeah.
Was blowing Texas hitters, who's, in my opinion, maybe the best offensive team in baseball right now.
Right.
Just shut them down. Had everything working for them, throwing a 96 mile an hour fastball, then dropping down with a 98 or with an 85 mile per hour changeup. Just pulling away from Texas in that first game and didn't look back.
No, and the bats were going too, as that's a great hitter's park out in Texas. One of the Rays guys goes for 2 home runs as they put up 9 on kind of an upset, I guess you would say, against the Texas Rangers. But the Rays, what I like about the Rays is they've been there before. Here in the last couple of years, you've seen the Rays in the playoffs. You've seen them actually win their first series and go on to the next series, and they've got a lot of those guys back.
Did they back into the playoffs as well? I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You were saying the Cardinals kind of snuck in there, so.
Well, I just was bringing that up because you're here, but yeah, they did. They had a walk off, and that was, I think that's good for baseball. You see a lot of these teams that kind of snuck in and haven't had, like the Phillies or like the Yankees, have had some time to relax, and sometimes that rest for those guys doesn't always bode well for those teams that have that big lead.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree. Plus, you get teams like Tampa and hopefully my beloved Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, they're hot enough. They go in there and it continues the hot streak, the hot hitting. If we're down by a run or two, it doesn't really matter because we know we can come back. That's a good mentality to have when you get into the playoffs in that situation against any team. And Tampa Bay showed last night that they're still got a hot hand going.
Yeah, they definitely do. It looks like they're going to play tonight at 6:07. I think tonight is 4 baseball games today.
Yeah.
4 baseball games. And let's move now into the Detroit Tigers. We're taking on the New York Yankees. They got through 1 inning, and then a downpour started. And after, I think it was about an hour, they had figured that the rain is not going to stop.
Yeah.
They got the tarp on. We're going to postpone this game. So they're going to pick that game up today.
Starting off in the second inning.
Right, 1-1 score. And I think that game's going to be at 7:37, which I'm not sure if that's Central Time or not. 7:37 p.m. is the picking that game back up. Jake, for you, you've got Sabathia that basically got warmed up, went through 1 inning, and part of the second. I think they got midway through the second, and then you have Verlander, who 24-5 this year, probably the Cy Young winner.
Possibly MVP.
Yeah, those guys are now out. I mean, until you've had your lineup set, you've had your pitching rotation, you've got a day off. Now you have no day off.
Yep.
You've got to try and work these guys because obviously you want Sabathia and Verlander to throw as many games as possible. Yep. This got to throw a wrinkle in. And
there's the outlook for today is rain again tonight.
I did hear that. Yes.
And if that happens, I mean, they may be looking at, for the first time ever that I can remember, a doubleheader on Sunday, which would be kind of cool for baseball fans, but not really heard of. But you're taking the 2 studs for both teams, both Verlander and Sabathia. Mm-hmm. You're taking both those, and now you're making them basically your number 3 or number 4 game starter. They're probably not getting 2 starts in this series,
right?
Which is too bad, to be honest.
Sure. And now they're going to have to bring in probably. what Detroit and the Yankees are going to do probably now is bring in one of that fifth starter to pitch from the second inning on, or bring a long relief. And now this could possibly chew up your bullpen.
Well, they were talking about starting their Game 2 starters today.
Really?
Yeah.
Surprising me.
So they'll kick off. I mean, it's basically, you look at it, it's an 8-inning game.
Yeah.
0-0.
I'm just, if they weren't, now you got a possibility of chewing up a lot of your bullpen, because Sabathia goes deep into games, and so does Verlander.
Yep.
So
Detroit, though, I mean, if you look at pitching staff to pitching staff, Detroit has an edge in this series.
I think so. I like Detroit in the series, really.
I'm following your same suit there. I do like Detroit, but we'll see. Our predictions this year didn't go quite as
we haven't done so well on those. But,
I actually went back and watched the tape on that, by the way.
Did you?
Yeah.
Where'd you see that at?
WLCN.com, I believe.
Online.com. Yeah. You got it. Jake was making sure he was right and I was wrong, I'm sure. But
well, not really. I mean, I did pick the Cardinals to win the wild card, and we can stop there.
Yeah, I think you said they were way out of it a long time ago.
Yeah, but I predicted about the beginning, so that's what really we go back to where I was right, and we base everything off of that.
Okay, you guys have the Phillies. You've got the Phillies today. That's a 4:07 start. 4:07. The Cardinals starter will be going for the Cardinals, which is a little surprising to me. Loesch, a guy that couldn't win a game early on in the season, is now your first day starter, and then of course taking on Halladay, perennial Cy Young guy, 19-6 overall in the season. Did the decision to go with Loesch surprise you a little bit?
Honestly, no. To be honest, he's been their best pitcher since pretty much July.
Mm-hmm.
Even at the beginning of the year, he had some games that they got a lot of runs for him, and he ended up pulling out. But then sometime in July, he came up with his cut fastball, and he's thrown it really well, and they've won almost every time out that he's pitched.
Mm-hmm.
And he has actually pitched really well down the stretch here. So not surprised at all. He was going to be the starter against Atlanta if we needed that playoff game there. Or in St. Louis, and they just rolled it over and said, hey, go at it. You got the Phillies.
Looks like Game 2 starters have already been announced. Jaime Garcia, 13-7 on the season, taking on the guy that loves the playoffs. You've seen him through for several different teams, and now he's back with the Phillies. 17-8 on the season. That's Cliff Lee. So
there's talks that it sounds like Carpenter actually may get moved up and pitch on 3 days rest.
That's why we bring you along, the baseball insider for the Cardinals.
Now,
aside from you being a Cardinal fan, what are the chances of the Redbirds beating the best record in baseball, Philadelphia Phillies?
Realistically, I mean, it doesn't look good. But at the same time, if the Cardinals were going to have a chance to win the World Series, they're going to have to play the best team.
Right.
And this is a Tony La Russa type setup where he's playing the team that is the cream of the crop, and he can figure out a way to beat them. He's done that before, and I mean, it's hard to count a guy out like that, that's been in this situation this many times.
Yeah, and
loves the underdog role.
They've got a tough opponent, man. The Phillies have got a heck of a lineup. Moving through baseball, also, the Arizona Diamondbacks will be playing the Milwaukee Brewers. That game is at 1:07 today. Arizona has Kennedy on the mound, 21-4 this season, and Milwaukee has Gallardo, 17-10. A little surprise there. Why? I'm not sure that's been there. Don't they have Greinke and?
Well, Greinke's going to probably go game 2. Gallardo's been their number 1.
Markham's game 2. It looks like on here.
Really?
Yeah. So,
well, I don't know about that. Greinke, to be honest, has been one of their best pitchers at home.
Right.
Not real effective on the road. Markham is, I believe, the National League's best pitcher on the road.
Okay.
So that kind of surprised me why they would do that. I was just going off what I know. But, Milwaukee, down to that last game of the year, actually won home field advantage for this round in that last game of the year. So they've been playing well as of late. And it could be a fun series, but I really like Arizona's pitching, man. They have some monsters in that.
Yeah, let's take our picks real quick, Jake. Winning the series, and we'll have I don't know. We'll think of something that's on the line for this winner. Who you got? New York, Detroit.
I'll go Detroit.
Okay, I'm taking Detroit too, so we're the same there. So that's a push. Tampa Bay and Texas. Of course, you got Tampa Bay already won one. You can go with the winner, or you can take a chance.
Well, I still like Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay. I like Tampa Bay also. So we got two the same. You got Philadelphia and the Cardinals. Now this is gonna hurt you. Now you could have a chance to get a cheeseburger or pick your team to win.
I'll take the cheeseburger and the team to win. Let's go Cardinals.
All right, I'm taking the Phillies. So we're against each other there. And then Arizona, Milwaukee.
You know, I'm going to go with Arizona.
Arizona. I got Milwaukee. Okay, so we've got a little discrepancy there. We'll see who gets to eat on who some night. You may be my McDonald's or something, or Curry's Wieners. That's what I'd rather have.
I do enjoy the Curry's Wieners. I'm not gonna lie.
There you go. Hey, we got to take a quick commercial break. Coming back with a lot of college football. Some big games, not only Illinois, but a lot of big games up in Madison. There's a real big game going on tonight. We're going to talk about all those games, plus some NFL action, and then Coach Andy McDonald here in the second half of the Cheap Seats. You're on 96.3 FM and WLCN all night. Hey, let's play ball.
Let's get some beer.
Well, you should be over at Memorial Stadium. Hey, we're out here at Grau Incorporated, located at 1905 North Kickapoo Street. Stop by today for great deals on new and used vehicles. Phone 735-4444 for more details.
You know, they have done an absolute outstanding job.
Looks great.
Redoing this parking lot and the front here. Just really nice.
Yeah, it looks nice. They got a lot of nice cars. Of course, the 96.3 crew was in a Grau Incorporated red Chevy four-door pickup yesterday. Made us look a lot better than we are. So we want to thank them for that also. Hey, Jake, Illinois today. We talked a little bit about them. Illinois is at home today at 11 a.m. start. That's a big game, 4-0 Illini. Opening up the Big Ten Conference against the in-state rival, the Northwestern Wildcats. The Wildcats come into the game today, 2-1 overall. Ron Zook, 32-45 in his seventh year at Illinois. I just thought that was a little bit better. I guess there was a couple bad ones, I'm sure. But
there was some real bad
32-45, thought it was a little bit better than that. 55-59 overall in 10th year as a head coach. Pat Fitzgerald, the head coach, of course, in Northwestern. 36-30 in 6 years as the Wildcats. The Illinois predicted here, as the paper tells me, a 27-17 winner over Northwestern. As we've gone through the schedule, this is a big game, Jake, because if you can win this one, Indiana is the worst in the Big Ten.
Yep.
They got beat by North Texas, I think it was last week, by like 25 points. So if you can win this one today, I think you can go on the road and win at Indiana. Then you've got the Buckeyes.
At home.
The Ohio State Buckeyes coming to town on the 15th of October and a chance to go 7-0. And Ohio State's not the Ohio State that they have been. No Tressel, of course, no Pryor. They're not like they have been. And the Illinois has beat them when the Buckeyes were the top.
Yeah.
So right now, I'm a little worried about this game today. Northwestern always gives us fits. Of course, last year Illinois beat them 48-27. But that's when Mikel LaSure went crazy on them at Wrigley Field.
And it
was like 250 yards rushing or something. Yeah, something ridiculous. So I don't think we're going to be able to do all that today. But our offense is more balanced. Our defense is 3 times better than what it was last year. And a lot of people are worried that this quarterback's coming back for Northwestern. I'm not worried about it. Your first game back from an ACL injury, there's got to be thoughts in your mind, hey, one hit, I'm out for maybe my career.
Well, especially at this level, you got these fast defensive linemen. Mm-hmm. They're going to get to you, whether it's a legal hit or just a little extra push there at the end or something. They're going to get to you at some point and make you think about that leg a little bit more than what you should be. So yeah, I mean, there should be a little rust there, I would think.
Yeah, and they're 2-1 with the old quarterback, and I know this guy's good as Persa. He's a runner and he can throw. So of course it adds another dimension to the Wildcats. For the Illini, it's been hard to scout them a little bit. I know, of course, you can go back to last year and look at him, but this year and with some new players around him and that kind of thing, the Illinois offense rushing ranks 14th in the nation at 241 yards a game, passing at 95th at only 182. But when you've got a young quarterback like the Illini do that is basically right now a better runner than he is a passer, you're going to have that. But the defense is what is surprising to me. Illinois defense is fifth in rushing at 56.5 yards per game. You got to think once you hit the Big Ten, that's going to go up. You're just the caliber of teams going to go up. But right now, you can't ask for much better defense than that. And the passing is 74, so we're giving up a few yards in passing. But
I tell you what, that's an opportunistic passing defense. They've got a few picks and a couple takeaways there off of the passing game.
Well, and also we've been up on some games that early on in the season where
they had to pass.
The other team had to pass to get back into it. So the passing will come. Total defense and scoring is 11th in the nation. We're only giving up 13 points a game. Now, we haven't played but Arizona State, but we held Arizona State to 14 points. So I like their chances. I like this team. They're fun to watch. They're very athletic. I like the Illini to win today. I like them to beat Indiana, and I like to be 6-0 going back home to Memorial Stadium after they get back from Bloomington, Indiana, to play the Ohio State Buckeyes.
I'm following suit with you now. It looks good. It looks like it's paved up to Ohio State, and then that should be one heck of a game.
Yeah.
A real good battle there.
We've got to find a way to get tickets for that.
All right.
Somebody out there wants to donate some tickets to the cheap seats.
Are we going to do
on the 15th? You know what?
It'd be great to do our radio show from a tailgate party.
How cool would that be?
That'd be all right.
Let's
Jim.
Let's get Jim to work on that over the next couple weeks, and we'll see if we can't get over to Memorial State. We got to get
our press packages to get into the the talk to Ron.
There you
Zook
go. We
after
talk to Zook after the game. Have a little interview with Zook. Hey, we got it all. Hey, he's going to have enough people there interviewing him, especially if he's 6-0 and beats Ohio State. So, hey, there's a lot of other college football going on today, and. Of course, the big one is up in Madison tonight. Madison, Wisconsin. The Wisconsin Buckeyes taking on the new arrival to the Big 10, 11, 12, whatever you want to call them, the Cornhuskers.
Yeah, the Badgers should be good in that game, I think.
Think so?
Better than the Buckeyes.
Really? Oh, the Buckeyes. Did I say Buckeyes? I still got Ohio State on my mind because I'm still waiting for the.
You're pumped for this game.
I'm still waiting for the Illini to beat them. So the Badgers. That's it. Before we get to them, Texas A&M. As are playing Arkansas at 11. That's in Arlington, Texas, I'm sure at the Cowboys Stadium. Going to be a big game. Of course, Illinois on ESPN2. Northwestern at Illinois. Michigan State at Ohio State this week. That's at 2:30. And then just another ranked teams, Alabama at Florida. A big game tonight on CBS. That's at 7. And then on ABC, Nebraska at Wisconsin.
Who's Notre Dame losing to today?
Notre Dame is going to beat Purdue.
That's not happening.
Yeah, Purdue's not good.
No, they're not good at all. I'll agree with that.
They're not going to be able to beat Purdue. Even though it's at home, at Purdue, Notre Dame's going to take care of business. But I like Alabama against Florida. Alabama next to LSU, I think, second-ranked defense in NCAA. I think they take care of Florida at Florida. And tonight, well, I haven't seen Nebraska play this year, but I've seen Wisconsin, and they're about as good as it gets for me.
Nebraska's awfully good. Yeah. Nebraska's going to make it fun. First time up there in Wisconsin.
7. I think Wisconsin's number 7. I think Nebraska's 8. I believe I've read where Wisconsin is a 10-point favorite. That seems like a lot of points to me, again, playing the 8th-ranked team in the country. But
Wisconsin's pretty tough.
Yeah, the experts know more than I do. So, moving on to NFL, the Bears. Have looked bad, have looked good.
I mean, are we going there?
Well, we have to. We're Bear fans. Chicago's going to be at home this week against Carolina. So hopefully we get a break from some good teams.
Oof, get to see Cam Newton.
Yeah, and I like the Bears this week. I think our defense has been playing okay, but they haven't seen a player like Cam Newton yet. Would you have expected Cam Newton to do what he's doing now?
Well, I've said it I don't know how many times that, in the NFL, running quarterbacks don't make it.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know, however, that this kid could make a transition the way he did from not being a running quarterback to almost nothing but a passing quarterback,
right,
and then run if he's in trouble,
Mm-hmm.
And boy, he's been unbelievable the last few games.
I made a comparison a couple weeks ago to Randall Cunningham, and I still think it's a perfect,
very fair.
I mean, when he could throw it, he could throw it, and when he had to run, he can run it. They will have their hands full. Urlacher, Briggs, those guys will have their hands full with this guy. I just don't know that Cam Newton has enough help besides Steve Smith They've got a couple
Greg
running backs.
Olson's had a good year so far.
Well,
for him
that's a good point. Olson comes back to Chicago, a guy that I loved, and why we ever got rid of him, because the receivers are not good for the Bears, and why we get rid of I think a potential Pro Bowl type of tight end if you can give him the ball enough.
Well,
but we can't get him.
I understand if they get rid of him and they had a plan going forward, being $19 million under the cap, and they spent some money on their offensive line, maybe got a couple wide receivers.
But still,
Mike Mart's not really running tight ends packages that often. Calvin Davis is a much better blocking tight end.
Yeah, I know, but he dropped 2 passes last week.
He also had a touchdown, didn't he?
I know.
But I mean, I'm just saying, and Greg Olson did drop his share as well.
Yeah.
There, and he ran horrible routes, is what the experts say. So.
Okay. That's not coming from you. That's just
that's the talk.
Mel Kiper Jr. Okay. Well, I still liked Olson. He'll probably burn the Bears this weekend. So I like the
scores.
Think so?
No, probably not.
14-point winner by the Bears. Hey, we got Green Bay. Green Bay is at home.
Huh? I'd take that.
Yeah, I'll take it. 14 up. Defense is going to be too good. Green Bay at home against Denver this week. And let's see, St. Louis is at home against the Redskins, and boy, did St. Louis look bad last week. Of course, the Ravens.
The Ravens,
they weren't happy
there in AFC
from losing the week before, but man, did they put it to the Rams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at St. Louis too.
Yeah, the Rams got a lot of work to do. The problem with the Rams is they're not scoring very well, and then you take that in consideration with the type of defense that Baltimore has. That's a tough one. Last week, Buffalo, a little surprise, beating New England.
Yeah, especially after I turned on the screen and said, that's a laugher.
Yeah.
And then about 15 minutes later, noticing, you know what, old Buffalo, the Bills there, decided to play. Mm-hmm. And they put their starters back in, and they just routed New England.
Well, and then you've got Detroit. That's the other 4-0 team. No, 3-0, sorry. 3-0 team Detroit is at Dallas.
Yeah.
Can they
yes.
keep it perfect?
I tell you what, that defensive line they have may be the best in football.
Uh-huh.
They're phenomenal. They get to the quarterback. They do not miss tackles on the running back. They're really good.
And they've got Calvin Johnson, which basically Stafford can throw it up in the air and let the guy go get it.
I mean, he's what, 6 foot 20,
and can jump and long arms.
And can jump, long arms, and
right.
As strong as a Buick.
So we'll see what they can do against Tony Romo and the all the hype that he's been getting at the punctured lung and all that kind of thing, and see if America's team can keep that going. I'd like to see Detroit lose, actually, because that's just going to help the Bears out in the division a little bit. Because right now the Bears are third at 1-2. Of course, Green Bay 3-0, Detroit 3-0, and Minnesota 0-3. Boy, the Vikings just finding ways to lose in that division, and that's fine with me if they keep on keeping on. Hey, we got to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back and here with Lincoln High School coach, a couple seniors, to talk about the homecoming game last night. You're on 96.3 FM and WLCNonline.com.